Yo guys, what's going on? What's happening? I'm out on the Abarth. It's a nice sunny day in September, which is crazy. 17 degrees, so that'll do. But yeah, I wanted to talk today about my experience coding and my experience being a programmer for a minute. So with obviously like Chris and his success in programming, and we get a lot of people emailing us and messaging us saying like they want to start programming, how do they start programming, what language to use and all this. And so I wanted to kind of share, it was about 18 months ago, maybe 2 years ago now. It was actually, me and Chris was wrapping the R8 in Christmas wrapping paper, so that was a while ago. And we got chatting, and I was talking to him about this app idea I had for a Twitter app, which as soon as you start typing, you get 30 seconds, and whether you're finished or not, it just gets posted. And so I actually started to learn how to program. And I started learning Swift for Mac. And Chris actually got me a big fat book about like Swift for Dummies. And so I started in November, I think, like late October, November, and the app was ready in February. So it was like a good few months of learning the basics of functions and variables and classes, and literally learning like the basics. And then with some of the harder stuff, like the Twitter API stuff, Chris kind of came and helped me and get it sorted. So I wanted to talk about it because we get so many people who want to start programming. So I thought I'd share like my experience of it, and kind of just give you a little bit of context as to what it was like. First off, it was like, I'm pretty sure if you want to start from scratch and learn to program and make it like a career, I think even a year is not enough. I think you've got to learn the basics for a year, and then maybe 3 years total, kind of gain experience and try stuff and work on apps and programs, and until you're like in a position where you can actually make money from it. And I think that's twofold, because it's not enough to just have the programming knowledge. To have the knowledge is one step, but to actually then have a business opportunity to go with that is a separate thing altogether. And from listening to like Accidental Tech podcast, great podcast, ATP, they've often discussed how hard it's becoming to like monetize an app on the App Store, because there's so many apps out there and programming knowledge is becoming more and more accessible to people, that kind of business opportunities aren't as good as they were like 4 or 5 years ago. So I basically wanted to do it just to kind of, because programming I think is going to be so important in the future. So I wanted to get more of an understanding so I can learn and kind of slightly understand where people are coming from. And also to obviously tell you guys and to share it with you guys what it was like. Because let's get into that, because I started it was really fun learning about all the variables and stuff, and it's quite enjoyable with Swift and Xcode. You get the playground thing, which you can sort of play around with and work on a few ideas. And so with the big fat book and Google and YouTube, I spent hours like trying to learn and understand. And I honestly, I had like the tiniest basic knowledge. I mean, the app basically consisted of an input text box, a timer, and then a link to the Twitter API, which Chris helped me with. So, I couldn't, I'm not capable of producing anything of any note. And that's why I say that like a year minimum, if not 3 years of continued like practice and learning to fully get a career. And so I think, say this video gets 1,000 views and 500 people say like, right, I'm going to start coding, I want to get an R8. And so if 500 people start like today, maybe one of you would actually then follow it through and succeed to actually have a career in programming. And which I think, and like that's harsh, but I think it's just the reality of, because it's the time and effort that's involved with going into it. And I think Swift was quite good because it is designed to be quite user-friendly, a lot easier than some of the other languages. I don't know all the languages, but from what I'd seen and what Chris kind of told me, that it's kind of on the more friendlier side, because you don't have to do memory management, something. This was a while, I forgot everything since then. And I think the future of developing, I mean, there's people who are creating sort of jigsaw programming. So you just drag jigsaw pieces and create, really basic apps. And I think for a lot of really basic, simple apps, that is going to be how they're programmed in the future. And it's going to be like just a bigger divide between simple stuff and really complex things. So yeah, enough about that. What was it like to actually learn to program? And I'll be honest, I really enjoyed that initial sort of learning phase, but in terms of it being a career, it's not for me. It's absolutely not for me. And I think anyone who spends any kind of time, a few months learning, you'll get a good feel as like, do I want to do this 12 hours a day every single day for the rest of my life? Like, that is the kind of way you've got to be looking. And for me, it's like I enjoyed it. It was a challenge, and it's nice when you get stuff to work, but I was so much more focused on like the end result. So that leads you towards just rushing the code in just to see something, and it's just not the way my brain. I like physical products and kind of working on stuff and improving, that kind of side. So like coding, for me anyway, it's just, I know myself enough to know like, I don't want to be doing this. As much as someone says, but you can make an app and make billions, like, don't care, not for me. It's like, I don't know. And yeah, huge respect to creators and programmers who enjoy it and can actually spend that time to create something. And the other thing which drove me crazy was, so I use, for a lot of the design work I do, I use Inkscape. And Inkscape's brilliant. And you can move everything about and create everything and just really like, mold it to how you want it to be. And with app development and the UI, it drove me insane. Like, because you've got, like, you can't just kind of easily shape stuff and craft stuff how I was used to, and then getting it to scale to the different phone sizes on Apple stuff was just stupid. Like, you get it all set up and then you view it on like a 6 Plus and then the button would be tiny. It drove me nuts. Could not deal with that. And so, like, when I look now at games and apps on, like, on phones, or that work on phones, on iPad, like, I'm just like, how? How do you do this? So yeah, like, a huge respect for what people do. But I kind of just wanted to share this just so you guys can understand a little bit of what goes into it. Like I say, if you want to pursue a career in coding, there's just a lot of groundwork you have to put in to be able to then, achieve it as a career. And I think looking at the current state of the App Store and where coding's going, I still think it's a valuable tool to learn. But I think the price of entry is come down a lot, and it's going to keep continuing to fall. And so I think to be successful, especially in like the App Store, you need something like really good. And so you've got to kind of ask yourself, one, can I learn this coding, this programming language enough to then have a business opportunity which is good enough to then balance the two to create like an amazing app that's got a good business potential. Like, there's all these kind of things where I think a lot of people just think that they can learn to program and then automatically they'll just make money. But it is, I'm pretty sure, a 50-50 split between your knowledge of programming and the business opportunity you can fill. And there is, loads of niches, and I think apps are going to be amazing for niches, and the more the price of entry comes down, the easier it's going to be to create an app for your specific niche, your little sector. And even I think it's going to come down to the point where people are going to just create apps for their group of friends. So I think there's definitely opportunities in there, but I would seriously look in the mirror and ask yourself, like, can I do this for 12 hours a day for 3 years with very little pay to get that payoff? It's just that, it's that patience reward trade-off. Is if you're willing to be patient and learn, put in the work now, in the future you'll have something. But I think the days are long gone of being able to create something really simple, easy, from scratch, and sell it for millions of dollars and be driving around in Fridays. I don't think it's going to be realistic enough. And in the 0.01% that happens to, you can't say that's likely going to be you. I think you've got to play the percentage game on it. So I'd say if you're learning to program, want to learn to program, put in the work, put in the effort, and then also really ask yourself, like, have I got a business opportunity to fill here? Can I produce something that's going to fill that gap, which people will pay for, either subscriptions or a single download? And so look at the business opportunities, and it's not for me. So yeah, I hope you found it interesting, guys. It was really fun to do, actually. It was a really fun challenge, and I think if there's something else I could do like that, another opportunity to try something out for you guys, like let's get a new section, side tries something, and then reports back what it was like. I don't know, but yeah, cool experience. Not for me, but for you guys who will learn to program out there, I wish you all the best of luck, and keep on that grind.